Hey everyone, in today's lesson we're going to learn everything you need to know to get started with playing punk and punk rock drum beats. We're going to learn a beat from a classic punk song, Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones, and I'm also going to show you how to make a normal drum beat sound like a punk drum beat so that you can adapt any drum beats you know already and make them work for punk music. So what is it that makes a punk drum beat a punk drum beat? Well, there are a few things you need to know to get this style right. Punk and punk rock drum beats are normally very simple, but they're played fast and they're played loud. As a punk drummer, you're providing a huge amount of the energy of the song, and your job is to drive the song forward as much as possible. So you're not likely to be playing really intricate, clever drum fills. You'll be keeping things simple. The challenge of this style of drumming is to be able to keep up with the very fast pace of the songs, and it may feel like your arms are going to fall off when you first start practicing these beats. There is a bit of endurance required that you have to build up, so that's probably the biggest challenge of it, and just keeping the energy high and really stamping your authority on each song with loud, confident drumming. You can get away with playing a bit messier and looser than a lot of other styles of music, just so long as you keep the song feeling really energetic and pushing it forward. So how do we do this? Well, the first way we're going to be providing lots of energy to the song is by using loose, half-open hi-hats. So normally when you play the hi-hat cymbals, they're pressed together tightly with your left foot using the foot pedal, and that creates that very slick chick sound, you know, that you hear in most styles of music. But with punk drumming, we actually let the hi-hats sit slightly apart, and this creates a sort of bigger, washier sound to the cymbals. We don't want the hi-hats to be completely apart so that they don't touch one another. We actually want them to knock into each other to basically create as much noise as possible. So all you have to do to make that happen is just relax your left foot on the pedal slightly, and that will just happen naturally. So the music you can see in front of you is actually an example of some half-open hi-hats, and this is what they look like in sheet music. It's this little circle with the one diagonal line through it. That's a half-open hi-hat in sheet music, and this is what they would sound like. They might even sound a little bit messier than that, but the key is that the cymbals are knocking together and creating that sort of washy sound rather than a chick sound. So this is the first part of the beat that we're going to be learning today, and these hi-hats are played with your right hand, and they follow the rhythm of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but they're just sped up insanely. So it's more like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. And you're going to have a bit of trouble getting them up to speed at first. The first step is just to practice that rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just get that going round. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just start to speed it up slowly with the right hand. You could either do that on the hi-hat cymbal, or you could just do it with tapping on your leg with the right hand to start off with practicing that rhythm. And when you're feeling a bit more comfortable with it, then it's time to add the rest of the beat. And the rest of the beat is really straightforward. It's just a bass drum on beat 1 and a snare drum on beat 2, a bass drum on beat 3 and a snare drum on beat 4. So every beat you're going to play either a right foot or a left hand. So the bass drum is played with the right foot, that's on beats 1 and 3, and then the snare drum is played with the left hand, and that's on beats 2 and 4. And here's what it would sound like. So as you can hear, it goes along at quite a pace. So The key to start learning this is just to learn the pattern first, and then we can do the speed and the timing later. So you start off with a right foot and a right hand played at the same time. Then you just have a right hand, that's the half open hi-hat, this second one here. Then you have a left hand and a right hand played together. Then you have just a right hand, and then the same again. This pattern, the whole bar's worth of drum beat sort of repeats twice. Really all you're learning is these first four, 1 and 2 and you just repeat that again and again. So you'll sort of go through phases learning this drum beat. So the first phase is just getting the coordination of the pattern down. So you're trying to get your hands and your foot to play the right notes in the right order. And it's going to be very, very slow at first, and it's going to feel weird, and it's probably not going to be in time to anything. So playing along to a song at the start probably isn't going to be that helpful. But as you get more and more comfortable with the beat, then you can practice it with a slowed down version of a track, and then you can practice it at full speed. So the track I recommend is Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. It's just a really simple example of this drum beat, and it's got some really cool variations. So once you're feeling more comfortable with this beat and you're having a go applying it to the song, you can start to move the right hand around the drum kit to different places. You can play exactly the same pattern in terms of which hands play when, but you're just going to move your right hand to different drums or cymbals. So one of the things that the drummer does on the Ramones track is he plays a crash cymbal on the 1. So rather than hitting an open hi-hat on the 1, you'd instead go for a crash cymbal, and then you just go straight back to the open hi-hat. So that's one variation you could do. He also has a variation where he goes to other cymbals. So you could play it all on the crash cymbal, you know, all 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the crash cymbal, or you could do the same on the ride cymbal. And then another variation is playing the low tom. So when they go, hey, oh, let's go, that part of the song, then he changes to the low tom. So the low tom is the drum to the right of you when you sit down on the drum kit, and you still play it with the right hand. So that's a cool little variation. So actually you're learning several drum beats in one, but just with the same hand and foot pattern. And by listening to the tune, the Ramones tune, you'll be able to work out when those different patterns happen, and then you can play along to it exactly, or you can just play it in true punk style and just get the feeling and the energy of the track rather than worrying about exactly what's being played when. You know, a punk drummer is unlikely to write out in sheet music exactly what's being played when. They're just more thinking about the energy and the feeling of the song. So that's probably the spirit that you should come into this with. So I hope that's been a useful introduction to how to play a punk drum beat. Of course, there are hundreds of punk drum beats, so this is just a starting point. But hopefully I've managed to communicate to you some of the ideas about how to make your drum beats feel more in a punk style, and just have a go at trying some of the concepts that we've explored in this video on the kit, and most importantly, enjoy it and have fun and enjoy playing along to the Ramones song. We'd really appreciate it if you could give us a like and subscribe, because it just helps us to keep putting out these free video lessons. And if you want to learn some more drum beats, then I'd recommend you sign up for our 30 days of drum beats course, which is completely free. It just teaches you a drum beat every day for 30 days. So you can find out more about that using the link in the description. Let me know if you have any questions or you want to suggest any punk songs that people should play along to. Do check out our next video, which is going to go into some more complex rhythms. We're going to be using crotchets, quavers and semiquavers to create some more sort of complicated and interesting beats. So do check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.